Okay.
Warming up. So yeah, egg cartons are vicious.
Maybe we should change the star graphic. Oh yeah, we could like. Oh, I can't do custom backgrounds at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is not paid anymore.
So warming up, warming up.
See now, and then now I can monitor us.
Oh, that's interesting. They sent that based on our complaints.
Yeah, it's that and
YouTube monitor is running. Facebook feed is running. Reshare is now in progress. There you go.
yeah, give me a moment. Let me do the same on Twitter and Facebook. So my long conversation with Restream boiled down to there are a lot of factors that can affect your stream, and it's probably your internet. And then you can monitor, like you maybe want to monitor your CPU usage and blah 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 during your next stream. Okay, and then what? Um, well, there are a lot of factors that can affect you. Like, okay, then thanks.
You're not giving solutions.
You're just telling me to watch it go down.
You're just hoping to have us accept it's our fault.
Hoo bells.
So with the lightning and our wiping, we look pretty nice.
We're also in lighter shirts.
But I also like the background feel. You know, you can see your ear. There's that little hail. And
You production nerd.
Nick would like the lighting.
Wow, let's bring up Nikki.
Nick will say, not bad for 2-point lighting, Toby. Then Deck would be like, oh, 2 points lang yan. Then may third lighting ka, yung fill ng room. And I'd be like, oh, no.
I know we need to get out of the house more. I know. I miss our friends too.
We miss our friend.
Why are you saying it like you're from Labyrinth?
Friend. Yeah. Ah! Okay, that's a mess in the background that we didn't notice before the show started.
It's fine. Because today is a very domestic topic. So it's perfect if things look very homey and unkempt.
And that's my hair.
Well, we can give it another minute and warm up.
Mhm.
And then we're just going to be talking to nothing, which is how some episodes go. We'll wait for some random person on the internet to stumble across this video when it's no longer a live stream, and they'll be like, "What is this?" And then we're like, "Hi, we're talking to you. You. Exactly you."
We who keep scratching our face and, you know, smushing our nose during the live stream.
Yeah, and everybody gets worried, like, don't do that. You might get sick. It's all the more like when you're on the spotlight, so to speak, that
Mhm.
you're more likely to do things of troubling behavior.
Well, so when you're ready, we can cue up our intro and we shall officially begin.
When we're ready. When's that gonna be? Hey, Andre, thank you for being someone who can watch this stream live.
That's that.
What happened there?
Thumbs up, shark.
I know, because like, okay, no, you're not late, Andre.
We're just about to start.
Oh yeah! Baduy Pride!
Hey, hey, this is Toby.
Yo, this is Rocky.
If it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, our little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It is completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us. We talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. It's another Tuesday,
Are
and
you sure?
Tuesdays
You don't sound sure it's Tuesday.
tend to be food days.
Or at least so Toby wants to push in his suggested topic threading. And we're talking about home cooked meals. This is actually a requested topic by US based viewer Black Swana.
Mm.
Because he mentioned it in the last one we were talking about food and what about home cooked meals. And then we said, why don't you suggest? And then he did, so here we are.
Hey, Mitch. Hey, Andre. Thanks for joining the stream. If anyone else is in the stream and we haven't greeted you, it's probably because we don't know you're there. The system doesn't actually allow us to see if you're on the stream. We just see the numbers ticking up when people join the stream. Please
down.
send. You don't have to stress that. Please send in comments so that we know you're there and we can add you to the show.
Yeah, so yeah, today we're talking about home cooked stuff. And then I think I was thinking like in terms of framing, it could be anything from stuff you grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
which is always nice, to stuff you've learned to cook for yourself. So what is the would you say there is a main appeal to home cooking other versus other things?
I feel that the magic of home cooked meals is not felt until you've experienced being away from home.
Mm.
And for many of us, home cooked meals starts out as something we hated because we were home and yun na naman yung food and stuff like that. So there's always that desire to have takeout instead or to go to the restaurant and stuff like that. But then when you reach a point where you're staying at the dorm or if you're living on your own and then you suddenly realize, oh, no one's gonna cook for you, or you've been having takeout and instant noodles day in day out for the last few months, then the ability to visit your parents or to come home and realize that someone's cooking at home has a sudden new heartwarming feeling.
Okay, okay. And that's the concept and summary of this episode. Thank you. No, no, because that's a pretty complete statement. And then I think I don't have anything really to add to that. But yeah, it is the whole absence makes the heart grow fonder
Mhm.
scenario where it is when you stop having ready access to like your family's home
Mhm.
cooked stuff, then you really feel it. So Andre has very strong opinions on home cooked stuff, and he says that best home cooked meal has to be sinigang and menudo. That's a strange combination, but I respect you if you want to eat that.
Okay,
And
so sinigang is, I think, a universal home cooked meal thing that, for
you think
Filipinos, sinigang will always be one of the items there. Because
that's
sinigang
interesting.
has always been, well, first it's a soup. So when you're sick, when it's raining, when
Mm,
it's, soups are always a big plus.
okay.
And then it's sinigang, which, you know, in as much as you might say home cooked meals might be spaghetti or this and that, if you go
I don't think
abroad,
spaghetti is
if
a
you
home cooked
travel,
thing.
it's something you can still get. But then sinigang, where else will you have sinigang except
Mhm.
here and except home?
Ooh, or like okay, then my own statement surprised me because there are some things that you cook at home that don't feel like
Yes.
home cooking, which
Yes.
is weird. Because like technically you could hook, Filipino spaghetti is a
Mhm.
very something you would have to cook. But then because you typically prepare it for an event and it doesn't feel like something you'd be having on a regular
That's a good
basis.
point.
So does like true or like top tier to be in internet speak home cooked meals be the stuff that you're more likely to have on a regular basis? That it's not reserved for special events.
Mhm.
Because like I don't necessarily think kare kare is like your typical home cooked stuff.
But then that counts. I mean, for my parents, well, at least for my mother's side and her siblings, it was the homemade kare kare that was their, this is the home cooked meal
Mm.
because for them, and Ate Oding would prepare it from scratch.
Okay.
Grinding actual ingredients to get that flavor right. For
I think
us,
my grandma used Lily's peanut butter.
yeah, but that's the thing. See, for many of us, there's all these little nuances that make a certain meal special or make it interesting.
So we can't say it's per dish. It's
Yes.
really based on your family, your personal family history, and that
Mhm.
provides nice context. Okay. So Mitch mentions home cooked sinigang, adobo, arroz caldo,
Mhm.
and then whoa, seafood Cajun, biryani, home cook of parents. What?
Andre shares the only meal I can cook is
Aglio olio.
yeah,
Oily based
which
pasta.
is what he learned when he lived in Katipunan. They also cook sinigang, tomatoes and onions along with sinigang mix.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a broth. And then or you could say it's an extra soup if you want to go that route. Um yeah, so okay, then what were the I guess what are the staples or I guess what are the home cooked meals that make you most think of growing up for you?
Hmm. So in my case, as far as what reminds me of home, that'll be three dishes.
Okay.
So first there's the turbo chicken, which Yaya Baby was really an expert at, and I'm so happy I learned to do it.
Yes. And you've
Um,
transitioned from turbo to oven.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Well, admittedly, I still kind of miss the turbo to some extent because there's a certain way it really makes the skin crispier than the
Mm.
oven.
So should we get an air fryer?
Nah. So no, it's fast.
Wow, fast.
But yeah, that's the first. The second, um, the second would be sinigang, because it was also when I learned to enjoy okra,
Mm.
and it was one of the few dishes that I grew up with where I actually wanted to eat vegetables.
Okay.
At a younger age, I really did not like vegetables.
And sinigang really throws a lot
Yes,
at you.
and I don't
It's
know.
like
I guess
kangkong
I
and
guess the soup just
labanos.
makes those
Yeah.
vegetables yummier. And um, prior to those, I know I would eat stuff on their own, which was odd for many, which was an odd thing. I'd eat tomatoes alone, like apples, and yes, God. And then
I did need a demonstration.
I'd eat kamyas.
Okay.
So, but then when it comes to vegetables, I don't like. So the last would be champurrado
Oh.
because champurrado was it's stormy, but it's not savory time. So here's champurrado,
Hmm.
and then it would just feel so warm and nice, and it was good.
Yeah, I have lots of weird. Like when I think about champorado, I oddly think of rainy brownout days.
Mm.
But there's something
Well,
about
Brownouts were very often.
I know it's
at
like
that
we're talking
time.
about early '90s, and
Mhm.
then it'd be late afternoon, and then grandma would still cook a batch of champorado for merienda.
And admit it, and as much as we'd probably not be able to remember it that well, the gasul was a much more common oven at that time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, when we were in Cubao, we were still on
Yeah.
Gasul.
And
so-
now everyone's almost, if it's not electric stoves.
most condos kasi don't allow gas.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is understandable. So instead, it's a lot of electric or
But
induction.
given the brownout era, gasul was
Gasul was
like,
king. Gasul was king. Okay. So for me, I guess similarly, sinigang is definitely on that list.
Mhm.
That's always I agree about the almost universality of sinigang's appeal for
Mhm.
some reason. And then and it's one of those things like when we introduce it to you know of visiting friends and stuff, then it from other countries, then it's so distinct. It's such an interesting soup
Mhm.
that's not straight. It's not overwhelmingly sour, but then I mean, depending on how you prepare it.
Mhm.
So that's one.
And then we were both mixed. Or did you actually have sinigang with sampalok.
I don't know. I didn't watch enough of my grandmother's preparation to know if she. I'm pretty sure there's probably a point she used actual sampalok, but then over time, the
Mhm.
mix. It's a no-brainer. Just use the
I
mix.
never liked the guava.
I've never tried
The sinigang na guava. I never liked it.
siniguava. I just said it before you did. That's it. you were gonna say it.
No. No, I
Okay.
wasn't.
Um, Other things, I guess, which is like now it's weird because like there's a soup that my grandmother called picadillo,
Hmm.
but then more often than
Just the
not,
ground meat.
it's the ground beef in the upo.
Hmm.
Remember, I made that before in Cubao, and then but it's just weird in the sense na because most people know picadillo as pretty much like a giniling like
Yes.
fried dish with tomato sauce ish.
Mm.
I mean, it always looked kind of red. So like, it's one of those things that. But growing up, this was our thing, and obviously, and this is also like telling you that two of my dishes are already soup.
Yeah.
And then if there was one more thing, I guess, that I actually no, it's gonna be a soup family of. It's probably a toss up between mungo
Hmm.
or what in the family we called white beans. But then
Okay.
white beans was essentially pork and beans from scratch.
Oh.
So it was full on white kidney bean type things, and then in a tomatoey soup,
Hmm.
and then you would have it on rice, and then it was essentially pork and beans.
Hmm.
It was pork and beans from scratch, and most of the cooking time was the freaking beans because she would have to pressure cook it, and to break it down so that it's edible. Because if not, it's super hard. So yeah, and then I know I could eat too much of that and then have bathroom complications for the
Hmm.
next day and all that stuff. Then it's like, you have too many beans, you have too many beans, but I like the white beans. So that's like, oh, see, then the dishes are very different. But I feel like my cooking now is like very influenced from that period
Hmm.
because we lived in a duplex together with the families of two of my my uncle's family and my aunt's family, so to
Hmm.
speak, in terms of the children of grandma. And then she would cook huge pots of food every day for lunch, at least for lunch, and then dinner something would be leftovers. But
Hmm.
for lunch would be a huge pot, and then she would bring portions to each family
Yes.
so that they would have some, which was a precarious situation of her carrying bowls and stuff and smaller pots
Hmm.
to share for lunch. So it was such a big thing that she would share food.
Hmm.
But so I got used to there's the big pot of soup that's on the stove, and then uh, it didn't quite get put away, and then come dinner you just reheat it because it's still there,
Hmm.
and then that's what you would get. Yeah, so that's like that experience.
So Andre shares, um, had he gotten more um, confident, especially when in terms of cooking adobo, he would have probably tried other stuff like sinabawang tubig. I'm not familiar with that dish, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think we've mentioned this on the stream before, but I'll say it again that and I'm not confident about adobo yet.
Hmm.
The soups actually I feel are surprisingly easy. Once you learn one, they're almost the same in terms of principle that it's the protein that gets boiled and then you add stuff. Whether it is at least the clear soups. So like tinola and sinigang and for us picadillo, it's almost the same principle for all of them. It
Hmm.
is it is boil the protein, dump in stuff. So it is less complicated cooking and just more prep. It's a lot of chopping and
Hmm.
stuff. And now like sinigang, I've got it down to a science that I can do it in under an hour.
Hmm.
And I'm chopping at different phases of the prepper. What are you
Yummy
smiling about?
sinigang. Yummy
And
sinigang.
I just say that because I just cooked sinigang again today. And then I was worried that I didn't have enough time to defrost the meat, but it still worked out. So there is that. And I still find, and there's like, so things like adobo I haven't figured out. And then I've been meaning to raise the conversation
Hmm.
in like the family chat and ask mom, like, how, how do you, uh, how do you prepare adobo so that it doesn't dry out?
So Andre shares unpopular opinion. Tinola is just chicken flavored water, which
Isn't that like the definition of what soup is?
Well-
It's like it is adding a chicken flavor to the liquid.
um
I mean, if I'm just gonna be very like,
yeah. Although I'm thinking, is it because you don't have enough ginger?
yeah, maybe, or enough other. I mean, I think because of this is an old Twitter non-argument, and I say non-argument because it's pointless. It just means that not everybody prepares tinola in the same way,
Mm.
and then I'm sure that the level of flavoring is different for some.
Mm.
I prepare a very strong batch of tinola,
Mm.
which is a good amount of ginger, and but the real trick is really toyo and patis already in the broth to round out the flavor. Because if you've ever tried like just eating or just drinking the results of soup bouillon boiled in water, it is not salty.
Mm.
It is not very salty. So uh, because they assume that you will
will
still
season.
season your dish.
Yes.
So then don't expect the salt to come from the bouillon in itself.
Mm.
And I only really got to reinforce that when I was remember the time I was super sick and I didn't feel like eating anything.
And you try.
And
to
then I
make
tried
yourself a
boiling.
bouillon.
I tried making lazy chicken soup by
Mm.
boiling a bouillon, and oh my god, it was terrible. It was just that was chicken water. Okay, that was chicken water. So yeah, the richness of tinola's flavoring definitely comes from the ginger
Mhm.
that you season the pan with first, uh, and then toyo patis.
So other home cooked meals that we like. Then we'll get to Andre's question in a bit. So I have a hankering for arroz de cubana.
Arroz al cubana.
Yeah,
Oh,
because that's always nice to have because it's like you have rice, then you have the fried bananas, and then you have the peas with the meat, right?
depending
no
on your
peas.
depending
You have
on your
no peas.
preparation.
You have no peas, but the peas round it out nicely.
It depends on what's there. I mean, some argue that it shouldn't have raisins, but then I think officially it should have
Yeah, it
raisins.
has raisins. I'm always annoyed by the raisins because it always feels like there's too much.
And then sometimes it's just potato and carrot.
Potato is nice too. I don't have carrots in mine. I have red peppers in mine.
Oh, I don't remember us having peppers, but I wonder. Let's look at like an official like. Oh wow, it's just peas and
Well, it has diced tomatoes, which I think
and that's where the red.
Yeah, I
thing
think that's
comes from.
that's what I mistook as peppers.
Ah yes.
It was probably the tomatoes. Okay.
We're not yet back. Oh, now we should be. Are we back?
Yes.
Ooh.
So yeah, so that's a dish that I always have that happy to have it home cooked meal moment with.
And then I'm like looking at our CPU usage was not at 100% and all that.
It has jumped to 97% a few times.
Yeah,
93.
but that's like normal. So I
And
mean,
then
like,
another one is tortang talong.
oh yeah,
Tortang talong always has
what's
that.
with this giniling
Hello, I am here. Eat me.
Why is it talking to you?
And then when you cut it, it's like, surprise greenery.
Why surprise greenery?
Because sometimes the talong is like so cooked it's brown. But then if it's cooked at just that right creamy point, then it's that green, creamy.
Green.
Green. It's creamy. Oh my gosh.
Mitch, wow, homemade paella. That is a
I
bit of a specialty. This, and I'm happy that you have a home
I
cooked.
don't know how you can do
accessibility.
homemade paella. That's so hard to cook.
Yeah, every time we watch people prepare, it's like, oh my god, it is more than just making rice.
And we have a paella pan, right? Which
I don't know if it's still alive.
I kind of used it as something else.
Yeah. Okay.
That was for Auntie Mia. Thank you, Auntie Mia.
Yeah, the egg pan got more use.
Yeah, the egg pan got lots of use. But we kind of stopped using the egg pan for now because it's faster to cook with the other pan.
Because making that rolled egg it's a process, so it's like
It's fun to do though. I miss doing that. I should do that
maybe
again
a
soon.
weekend. Maybe save it for a weekend. Okay.
Maybe.
Why are you like this?
Because weekends are so hard. So many things planned on the weekend.
Yeah, our plans are like, ooh,
Rest.
grocery.
Roll
ooh,
in bed.
ooh, roll around and not get up right away. Okay. Okay, so you have at least the turbo chicken that
Mm.
you've learned to do.
Mm.
Are there any um home cook or home cooking dishes that you wish you could learn how to prepare?
I wish I learned more, to be honest.
Hmm.
But I know I hate cooking things wrong. I feel like I'm throwing away money, and
Yeah.
it's just like there are times I overcook the meat because I'm trying to juggle it and work, and I'm like, why did I burn the meat? Or sometimes it's not burnt, but it's still you can tell it's wrong, so it's frustrating. So it all the more feels scary to learn new things because I'm already um, making a mess sometimes of the things I should be good at. And then it always goes bad when it's cooking for a visitor. Like the chicken always goes wrong the moment I'm cooking for a guest. It's so annoying.
You remember that Sesame Street character? I forget if he was writing a story or composing music, and then when I go, no,
The guy who looks like Guy Smiley.
it's wrong, 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 wrong.
Ruined.
Yeah, that's Toby. That's Toby when he's having a cooking meltdown every
Hey
time.
Tristan, some of the pabaon of my mom when I lived abroad were recipes.
Oh, that's nice.
That's true.
Oh my god. Okay, guys, I talk about my grandma a lot only because growing up we lived in her
Mhm.
big duplex, and then eventually, our family split up and split off and moved into our own house. But then, so a lot of my home cooking experience is like tied to that. And then I'm pretty sure her Nora Daza like classic Pinoy recipe cookbook
Mhm.
was super valuable only because she had notes on the margins
Mhm.
of the recipes. She was like that kind of a home cook. And then I don't know, it was like one of those things like every now and then I speculate like, "Oh, I wonder if it's still there." And like because my aunts are my uncle's family, so my aunt's
Mhm.
still there. And I wonder what happened to the book. And like does someone have the book and are the notes still there, and and all of her little things, because but not every family really documents
True.
recipes well, and a lot of it becomes almost automatic.
And then some use their own code.
Oh yeah.
They like numbers with letters. And you're like, what's that? I know that's salt and that's ganyan. And then the numbers, how much? How much what? How much grams? No, no, no. May measure siya sa finger niya.
Yeah, yeah.
Yung mga ganong language.
It's like ep. It's like
Yung mga,
how much seasoning.
isang piranggot. Ano yung isang piranggot? Pwede masakit yan.
Yeah, we had in a previous friend circle, we made the joke of a wisp. I think it was like trying to explain like doing a recipe like a big cooking show, like a pinch of salt,
Which is different from a
a
whisk
dash
to a
of pepper,
dash.
and a whisper of MSG. It's Ajinomoto. So I don't know. It's like everybody develops their shorthand for like how they communicate these things.
Andre mentions, are all lolas like that? They write on the borders. You are supposed to write on the borders
I mean,
of
that's
books you use.
cookbooks are functional, so there's nothing.
Not just cookbooks.
Well, particularly, I will agree that cookbooks are quite functional and should be written on.
You can write on fiction books if you like to note what you thought about it and stuff like that.
You can, in the world of possibility, that it is something you can do.
So you're telling me you'd rather not?
Have you seen my books?
I make cartoons.
Have you?
So when you
have
click
you seen
when you
my
click the
books?
pages, you see a guy, yeah, because I enjoyed the book. I stopped now. I used to do that when I was younger.
How much younger? I don't think it's going to be all the way young.
Young enough, but yes, lolas are like that.
And I think but it's like instinctive behavior, especially if they're the type who actually leaves the cookbook in the kitchen.
My mom kept recipes and index cards.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
there was that little filing thing where she would like dig, and then here it is. And then Yaya Baby would do stuff from memory. So she used to also do her homemade tocino, and she had this very mean pork chop
Mm.
that was um how do you describe it?
Tough. Grew up on the streets.
No, the
Or
breading felt
chicharon.
parang ganun eh, parang
Oh.
shredded chicharon yung feel ng breading. So
Baka parang adobo flakes.
it was always just so sinful when you eat it because it just felt so good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I tried when we were learning to cook, and then like I know I emailed like I asked my sister for recipes, and then she emailed me stuff, um and then I tried to document some of these things. So like I have a Google site with like an attempt to document recipes,
Mhm.
but then I'm pretty sure they're already like not what I'm doing. Like they're out of date versus what I ended up really doing when I prepare, and I don't know how to.
And if you've been cooking long enough, you really start just doing it automatic.
Yes.
Like I don't even measure my soy sauce anymore when I
Mm.
prepare the chicken. I do still count my calamansi. I like, I have a number. I
Which
know
is
I use.
ironic because the calamansi are different sizes.
I know. And then same with the salt. I like know how many times I'll get and then rub it and massage the chicken. And then sometimes I'll get and then I'm like, oh, too much, and I'll throw it. Because I kind of realized I grabbed too much.
Okay. Yeah, but I get that. I get that. And like
But personal trick, if you are doing chicken and you are salting your chicken to make it crispier, make sure you get some mga singit. That's where
you have to touch my armpit. I am not a chicken.
the wing, the thigh.
I am not a chicken. Okay, so yeah, and I think that's where like when you're so used to it and so used to the preparation. For example, for me, like I feel like fundamentally a lot of clear broth soups
Mhm.
have similar preparations,
Mhm.
and thus I have made variations like because it's more like there's a certain mouth feel or a taste that I'm looking for,
Mhm.
and I will aim for that. For example, like I have the cabbage, I have the ground beef soup that has cabbage. That is not quite a picadillo, but it's actually kind of a picadillo in terms of how I prepare it. But now I like because I want to throw in more stuff. I've thrown in mushrooms
Mm.
and whatever just for the feel. Even like the original recipe for Mexican relish, as my family would prepare it, did not have mushrooms. But I like the taste of mushroom or the texture of mushroom, so I added it in.
So, Black Swana has
Who suggested this stuff?
has asked, is putting tomato sauce into pork adobo completely unheard of? Well, we don't cook
It
adobo.
sounds uncommon
Yeah,
though.
we don't cook adobo, so we can't speak with any level of expertise. But looking online, there are many who have done adobo that has tomato sauce. Some are pork, some are chicken, some even have it like a pasta dish on noodles. So I think it's not that unusual anymore, but it definitely makes the flavor profile interesting. Because what makes what flavor? What
Because
do you
I
see
think
from
more
adobo? It's vinegar and soy sauce in that
yeah.
nice balance. So tomato is like
Sweeter.
yeah, but it's also an added acid.
But normally, kasi, I mean, like, when in terms of like fundamental adobo prep, it
Mhm.
is bawang sibuyas kamatis. It is
Yes.
onions, tomatoes, and garlic chopped up. So the tomato sauce flavor is not entirely alien to it. There are tomatoes in many
Yes.
preparations of adobo. I'm just not sure about full on sauce because
Not in that quantity.
and then it depends on the sauce. Like
Mhm.
because there's Filipino tomato sauce and original
Yes.
tomato sauce. Or anything where they add the word Filipino on it is probably sweeter.
And then the tomatoes themselves depend pa. Because like if you have it in chunks compared to it being a very pureed sauce,
Mm.
that affects the flavor. Eh.
Yes.
Because the chunks and the skin itself can change its flavor profile the way it was cooked. Once mas malutong skin, it starts to caramelize and have that
Mhm.
sweetness to it. Mitch asks or
No.
mentions the yum of bagong lutong kanin. Okay, rice is evil. Because rice really has this way of being so good despite not really being flavorful in its own way. But then
It's a
when
contrast.
but then when you're so used to it, you do notice the flavor of rice.
Mm-mm.
You do realize because when you've had bad rice, you can tell it's bad rice. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is old.
Or it
This is
was
cardboard.
or like we lost gasol, we ran out of gasol in the middle, and then the cooking slowed down, and then you restarted it. It'll taste weird.
Yes.
It'll know it tastes weird.
So rice is that amazing thing that is like quite distinct. I will admit that that rice vinegar that we put for
Oh, when we
sushi,
did the sushi rice,
that was deceptively evil.
that added an
I,
interesting
and
profile.
I really wanted to start putting it every time we have rice because it has that nice way of making. It was an MSG moment.
Yeah. Oh, or along the lines of, it was only with my ex that I first witnessed and experienced that he would throw in pandan
Hmm.
into the rice cooker,
Hmm.
and then it wouldn't turn the rice green, but there would be that fresh smell of pandan, and then it would slightly flavor the rice,
Yes.
but not color it green like anything else we associate with pandan.
And a lot of the green pandan is they add green.
Yeah, they add
coloring.
food coloring. So it
Yeah.
was like, that was interesting. And then like, so it was an enhancement to what I am familiar with in terms of rice on its own. So that's cool.
Black Swan adds from earlier. It's a pureed sauce.
I don't know. I think ultimately it just depends on quantity, and I wonder if that makes it more closer to a Mexican adobo than Filipino adobo.
Yeah.
Which is always confusing because there's like canned Mexican adobo, which is like a completely different flavor profile versus like Filipino adobo. So,
I will, however, state that now that we are living in at such an age where fusion dishes are so common,
hmm.
everything from what did we see? There was that um, it was the sinigang flavored paella, right?
Oh, that was Aina, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No,
But-
tinola.
tinola.
She made a
Tinola
tinola
flavored
flavored
paella.
paella.
And then we had those other dishes. You had the laing that uses something else, or the um,
Tinola paella was a revelation.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
basically,
God.
all these fusion dishes, all these transformations, and even stuff wherein they claim it's a deconstructed whatever or different
Deconstructed
approach.
polvoron. Deconstructed polvoron. Woohoo! Powder in a jar.
I think ultimately, it stopped for Andre.
That happens,
Yeah,
Andre.
but it's still
sorry.
running here in my monitor. But yeah, so I think the choice to be more creative to see how far you can bring a dish is, by all means, go for it.
Huh.
If you want to make a tinola that's filled with garlic, then go for it and see if it'll work.
And if there are no vampires, then you know it's super effective. Okay, so Mitch adds Koreans add potato, kamote, mushroom on top of the rice for flavor. Our first years of living together and trying to cook involved putting so many things on top of rice.
Because we cooked in the rice
We
cooker.
cooked in the rice cooker. So we put alugbat. We would steam alugbati above it in the last minutes of the rice to have with bagoong.
Mhm.
We put a lot of tuna. We put okra.
Mm.
Oh my god, we always put okra.
Yes, okra was our
we
staple.
like steamed okra.
And it's when you steam okra, the juices go down and it nicely flavors the rice too.
And then I would do like my sister had a quickie rice pilaf
That was
recipe.
nice. Yes.
And then like I'd mix in tuna, and then we would have like this sort of tuna pilaf rice cooked in the rice cooker, and it was basically there's a bouillon. You don't just cook it in water, but you cook it with a bouillon, so it's a broth technically, and then it really flavors all the rice.
But you have to make sure you mix it well because the bouillon would then have
A clump in
chunks.
the middle, yeah, and then it had thyme for that herby flavor, and then just mixed in tuna and stuff. So our first, at least our first year, was either frying or putting stuff in the rice cooker, which was a lot of
So
fun.
we were pressure cooking. So
No, I will immediately say no. That's a very different machine and a very different cooking style. There was no pressure in the rice cooker
no, there was.
because
it just
it
wasn't
vents
high.
out. Okay, okay. Okay, fine. In the sense that we are all under the constant influence of one atmosphere worth of pressure.
Yes. So it's still pressure cooking.
Yes, all right. No, because pressure is not the main cooking principle
No, but
behind
if
it.
you fail, so you failed, so the pressure
No,
to
don't,
cook it
don't
right.
do that. Don't. Oh my god.
Let me-
Do you? Do you really?
See, pressure.
But
Okay.
is that pressure cooking anything? I don't think so.
Talking therefore of home cooked meals, what was the first one you tried to do? Do you recall your first home cooked meal attempt?
Realistically, it was with you, and then I think it was sinigang.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably sinigang. And this was pre-keto, so it was sinigang with everything.
Mm.
And then like I wanted gabi in my sinigang and all that. So yeah, it was definitely sinigang. I definitely went along the road of I want a soup, but then like shortly along in that same period was beef stroganoff.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I would
Mhm.
make beef stroganoff. Um, oh, you know what? It might not have been sinigang. I think it was the chicken and the chicken soup in the cream soup.
Mm.
You remember that one with the
Yes.
potatoes and the carrots and the peas?
Yes.
Okay. It was practically chicken a la king, but it was a soup.
Yes.
So that was I think that was
Chicken
the
a la
very
soup.
first thing. Yes, that was like the first thing I prepared because I asked my mom for the recipe and I had to shred. I had to shred a chicken breast,
Mhm.
which I realized is not fun because you boil the chicken, you take it out, it is hot,
So then you
and,
shred it.
and you're using two forks like
Yeah.
you're a T-Rex, and you're like,
That's the fun part.
but it's hot. And then if I were Toby, I'd be going, ow, 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 ow.
Yes, you would be.
But I'm not. And I just take the heat.
I could just buy you rubber gloves in the future.
We have so many silicone
No, so you
mitts
can
and stuff.
tear it apart with your fingers.
I think it would melt the gloves, especially when it's freshly boiled. And I can't have that soup anymore because of the cream.
Nah.
So now, that's why all of our soups are clear broths. Because it's like I can't have cream. I can't have excessive
For
tomato.
new viewers, that's because Rocky's on a keto diet.
I'm on keto.
I think my first home cooking attempts, was basically cooking hot dogs. And I wanted to get that right tostado feel.
Mm.
I did not realize back then if the secret to that is salt. So it was like, oh, it's too burnt. It's too burnt. So I kept trying to burn it just enough to get tostado.
I did put salt.
Salt is the secret to getting the correct tostado moment.
Mm.
Because it keeps it juicy, but then the outer part becomes tostado.
Kami naman, it just oil the pan well, and then it's
Moving.
constantly moving
Yeah.
it, so that you can still get it tostado, but then you gotta keep moving it. Which is why, like, if you go to a hot dog stand, they're on a rotating thing, so that
Rotisserie style.
they're
Well, not
constantly
rotisserie, but
they're rotisserie but swimming in oil.
The conveyor belt thing.
Sure,
Yeah.
let's go with that. Let's go with that. Okay.
What else? But yeah, I guess.
Oh, but I didn't even answer my own question about what do I want to learn. I definitely want to figure out adobo. That's like I keep thinking about it
Mhm.
recently. Like how do you really make a good adobo? And then, um, yeah, I want to adjust because I've tried it
Mhm.
before. We did it in Cubao,
Yeah.
but then it came out. It felt like a braised pork that was just oily,
Mhm.
and the sauce totally like evaporated away. And I
Yeah.
didn't know how to. I never know how to balance it to keep it with the sauce.
I mean, naman, my attempts to do. For some reason they keep crushing. My attempts to do bistec seems to come out similar to adobo, but then my attempts to do adobo sort of becomes beefsteak. So I'm getting frustrated about that. But what I would like to learn is to cook bulalo.
Oh, oh, that would be interesting.
Because it's always super expensive, but at the same time it's a nice healthy filling broth
Mm-mm.
that even if there's no more meat, the broth itself is still really good.
And we still have a pressure cooker, so technically we can make it. We can make it. That could be fun to do.
Mm. I miss making those soft shell crab salads. So
And I think
I was very proud
the
of
other thing we
those.
also enjoyed doing was like that the McCormick Oriental beef stew because it
Mm.
tastes like a braised beef dish
Yes,
from like Chowking.
yes,
But then yeah, it was a pretty good mix, and it was always like pressure cooker the beef, and then then
yeah,
add the mix, and then reconstitute with little water and stuff like that. So
yeah.
that was nice. That was nice. But I know that the sauce is not keto, so
And
plus
then
carrots.
there's that one last dish I guess I'll cite, which mom and Yaya Baby also used to make a lot. It's that meat that you roll up. So there's all these
Morcon.
thread, and then when you cut it, there's like the fatty center, and then the nice crispy meat
Oh
outside.
yeah.
Those are
Our other
good.
Lola would
Those are
make
good.
morcon for Christmas, and it was always such a revelation of like, oh my god, how come we have not? I know the first time I had it was like high school na. And
Mm.
like, why have we not been eating this all our lives? It's like it's so fun, and there's like a hot dog and egg in it, and then I don't understand what's in
It's like
this.
it's like super embutido.
Yeah, it's like chicken cordon whoa, but it's like but
Yes.
it's pork.
Hey, Rahan.
Hello, Rehan. Okay, so but yeah, oh my God, Marcon.
Mm.
But I've seen how much work goes into Marcon, and it's like, oh
And you really
my
stab
God.
it and tie
Yeah,
it
they have to
up.
tie it up,
Because you have to tie it super tight so that the juices don't,
and
go
and
out
that
while
it and
cooking.
that it and then it solidifies into a block and cooks
Mhm.
as it because then you serve it sliced.
Mhm.
So Mina learned it. Mina learned how to do it. I don't know if she still remembers to do it. Oh my God, I should like challenge her. You should make Marcon again. I'm not gonna eat it because it's probably not keto, but I want to see you make
Sadly,
it.
it's probably not. Yes, thank you, Rehan. Maganda shirts naman. So, so that's home cooked meals. We talked about the ones we've had. We talked about the ones we've attempted. We've talked about the ones we hope to do.
Mm-mm.
Um, I guess to end the episode, I'll bring the question of: do you think the expectation or definition of home cooked meals will be very different 5 more years from now? I mean,
I mean, it's possible. It really depends on like how do you define home cooking? Because like even when you mention like was this there's that weird stuff you cook for yourself doesn't always feel like a home cooked meal
yes.
because like you do a lot of instant stuff
Hmm.
like pancit canton
Mhm.
obviously, but it's not something you really prepare for yourself.
Yes.
And then just frying something doesn't feel like a super
Mhm.
amazing home cooked experience. But then to be fair, putting a typical breakfast of like fried rice, hot dogs, and egg, together.
It's still a
Um,
home cooked meal.
yeah, yeah. So you can't really argue against it. In fact, at home, it is one word: hot dog, egg, rice,
Mhm.
which tastes specifically better only if mom is the one who cooks it. If anybody else cooks it, it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah,
Compared
Mitch
to mine.
suggests possible on how it was prepared or it was cooked. Yeah, or in some ways it's also kasi what you got used to.
Mm-mm.
Like um, so like us, we're seeing sinigang and all this as very home cooked meals. But then for most people now, it's been nothing but the mix.
Mm.
And sinigang now might fall under the same spot as pancit canton.
Maybe.
Na wala, it's a mix eh. So it's not a home cooked meal.
But how
But
much?
you get
how
but
much?
you get the idea,
How much
right?
gulay you have to chop up for sinigang?
But that sort of then makes you think like 10 years from now. Because okay, there was a point in time when restaurants were all it's either 5-star restaurants or very select type of fast food.
Okay.
Diba? Pizza was a luxury. It
Yes.
was a birthday, let's have pizza. Now it's like I'm bored, let's just have pizza. Diba? It's shifted to that manner. To get sushi and sashimi before was
Was
let's go
super
to the
like-
hotel, let's earn up to eat there because it's wow, we're having Japanese. And now it's literally, anong feel mo for lunch? Japanese tayo. It's normal fare na because it's now fast food.
Mm-mm.
So then the definitions of what constitutes or what counts as home cooked meals transforms as well. And for all we know, 10 years from now, a home cooked meal is someone who has fried egg because all these other dishes are now instant and easy to get, but then to cook your own egg is
Mm.
different. Um, Maybe even adobo and the like are just takeout food na and not anymore seen as home cooked meals.
Oh my god, eggs always are like I I think about frying eggs, and then like when I do a sunny side up egg,
Mhm.
and I cook it on the tiny egg pan, and I'll cook one egg at a time
Mm.
so that it comes out
That's how you
okay.
cook your eggs well. Mine are like put them all together.
So
I'm evil. When I
what
cook
challenges me is that I've seen my mom and my grandma like do multiple eggs in a pan, but they're separate.
mine. Mhm.
And they're like, how? And then they come out okay, and they come out the way I like it, na runny,
Mhm.
runny with like crisp edges, but
Mhm.
like runny in the middle. And like, god damn it, so
It could also be the pan.
I don't know.
Because ours, gravity just pulls them together.
I've seen them on different pans. It's in different houses, and this the same thing.
Yeah, but
The common.
maybe they hammered the pan na and you don't know it. And there's like
No, it's not the same
micro
pan.
divisions.
I know. I know. Yeah, sorry, Rehan. Tuesdays, we talk about food. So, nakakagutom palagi on Tuesday.
I don't think I'll ever go as far as trying to do an eggs Benedict or something like that. As tempting as it looks to try to do those Scotch eggs or whatever.
No.
But I do miss hard boiled eggs. There's just so much effort to do. They're just so messy to clean up after.
Apparently not for my mom. Because she has, whenever I visit, she has a couple of hard boiled eggs in the fridge. Like, and they're peeled. Like, she just prepped some eggs for a rainy day. And like, what? Why? Why? So, I don't know.
But I do miss hard boiled eggs.
There is a.
Sometimes I'm tempted to try to boil, and then when we have our salad, I'll just chop it up. So there's
Yeah.
hard boiled egg on top, stuff like that.
Okay.
So
And it's possible. I mean, like, there's nothing stopping us from doing it. It's just effort.
But going back to the closing question, what do you think will be the home cooked meals 10 years from now? Would it be like, oh, I had a home cooked meal. We got, burgers. That's already considered home cooked meal.
I guess I would think about just the rate of things becoming like pre-prepared or instant. I mean, like, just instant spaghetti blew my mind.
Yes.
When I first saw instant spaghetti.
Yes.
It tasted terrible, but then like instant instant champorado.
Mhm.
It's not bad.
Mhm.
It's pretty good.
And then
So I get that. I get that progression of things. So I don't know. I don't know what food would be protected enough to survive, to like still be like, it must be that wasn't a
modernized.
100%, and we blinked.
Yeah, when it's like modernized and all this and that. But then food, when it goes through that, when it's like something that used to be meticulously prepared and so special, and then suddenly it's now an instant.
We're watching ourselves come
Yeah.
back online.
So
Okay.
suddenly it's now an instant dish. You know, a dish wherein, oh, I used to have to prepare that overnight, and then I can cook it for 2 hours before I finally give it to you. Now you can like have an instant, and it's cooked in 15
It's like
minutes.
mac and cheese, man.
Yeah. So is there a term for that? When food gets blanked,
Science. Food gets transformed into things.
capitalized or something. Because it's, I don't know.
Pag instant ang lahat. I don't know. Instafication.
Yeah, something like that. Because that sort of is shaping now how food is viewed. And I mean, even juice. There was a time when you wanted juice.
You'd have to juice a fruit.
Yeah.
It is a verb,
and
and
then,
not a noun.
and then you find that balance of sugar to mix with it. Because it's so strong that it's close to sour. But then if you get the right mix, it's heavenly.
Mm.
And now you just buy a bottle.
Mitch just like nailed it. I don't think that's the term for like when food becomes more instant. Is it a nailed it food? I don't know.
So yeah, so just a thought of how everything is changing, and how home cooked meals might be something that will be a thing of the past.
I think a classic sinangag, like any sinangag based breakfast, I think will survive as like the ultimate home cooked experiences. Tosilog,
I feel nga
tapsilog.
that's already out there. Because it's already instant food everyone's accustomed to when they eat it on the way home from work.
No, but it's still something that someone has to cook. And then as much as you can get it at like Jollibee, it is different when you get it at a karinderya.
Mhm.
And it will still
So
taste
are you
better.
saying lutong bahay and home cooked meals are the same?
By
I mean, officially
translation,
they should be. Yeah,
yes.
officially they should be. But then yun nga, lutong bahay already assumes it's the
But
turo-turo.
isn't
It-
that the appeal of karinderya and turo-turo?
Is it?
Because it is basically food from someone's home, but like prepared, and it's served in a similar manner where it is not made to order, but from this large quantity that is sort of kept warm throughout the day.
And measured by bowl in plastic bag.
Bowl in plastic bag, and then you get the bag. Congratulations. I will not tire of random things like in my Pasay days. My breakfast would either be sopas or that achuete spaghetti
Mhm.
or the pancit of many different noodles mixed together.
My closest thing to that was the um previously when the office was a different building,
Mm.
there was that Turo Turo place
The
that
Jolly
we would
Jeep.
go to, yeah. No, not Jolly Jeep, that's in Makati. The one here in BGC.
Ah, okay,
We
okay.
found this small itumbahay place.
Oh,
And when we found it, we started going there. Boy, it seems like the surrounding people who work there, parang they claim ours.
hmm?
Kasi when we went there once, na bumaba lang kami, ang haba na ng pila. And then, just as these people are standing, may dumadating ng group. So parang coordinated na sila. So we had...
Parang construction teams.
No, they were all office people. Eh.
Ah,
so
okay.
sobrang we were like, okay, we have to make sure that we know what these are. And then nag-ano na kami, patapos na kami, papunta na ba kayo? Kasi we wanted to make sure we could grab the chairs.
Oh, it used to be like there was on Katipunan, there was this restaurant called
Mhm.
Ken Afford.
Mm.
And it was like Ken, a guy, Ken Afford.
Mhm.
And then they were technically a sit down restaurant. But at lunchtime, they started doing turo-turo outside.
Okay.
So they would have some containers of food outside and a lady waiting, and then she'd like do the plastic bag thing, whatever.
Mhm.
More often than not, we would just get that and bring it home
Mm.
versus sitting down and ordering in, which was funny. So I don't know. It's a fun vibe. These kind of things when you like. There's something about that the appeal of it versus like everything made to order or things like that.
Mm. Okay.
And they had good sisig that can afford, even though some will argue you shouldn't put egg. Hey, it's an acceptable sisig now.
A year from now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like,
Pineapple.
no, there's like sisig mix. You buy this
No,
pack.
but there's frozen.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like frozen
But I'm-
pre.
But I'm expecting it to go to the point that you buy this sachet, you sprinkling it on your food, and it tastes like sisig.
It tastes like meat
They-
and soy sauce.
Well, that sounds funny, but in there was a time that bouillons did exist. So, this world will surprise us every now and then. I think that covers the topic. I'm now hungry again. Crispy kangkong. Yes. See, I'm now hungry.
You're just citing food. We just ate.
Tom mentions, I started watching late, so I don't know if this is brought up. Home food kits, perhaps. Buy a box with all the ingredients and instructions and some prepared marinated. Yeah, we were talking about that. And part of the question that we raised was, does that still make it feel like a home cooked meal? Or does that just feel like you got
Because it's a boxed
an
experience.
instant something?
But to be fair, I mean, and I've seen that. I mean, like I've seen that more talked about in the U.S. And then I don't know if there's a good service here.
Mhm.
That it's a
Prepared
learn
kit.
but it's like a learn how to cook this dish
Mhm.
kind of kit, and then you get that box, and then it has everything you need to prepare it.
So it's
But
a,
you still have to do the chopping. And
so it's a
whatnot.
deconstructed home
Don't
cooked
say
meal.
that. It's a dish level
It's
grocery.
kind of like deconstructed pulveron.
No. 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 Okay. But yeah, sorry, Tom. It's quite late. We're actually gonna wrap up. So yeah, I think that's about it.
Any closing for home cooked meals?
I mean, ultimately, I will just ascribe to the whole that home cooked meals are gonna be more influenced by what you personally grew up with more
Yes,
than anything else.
true.
And then there is a natural inclination towards innovation once you really get used to cooking for yourself. And then I think when you first have to make substitutions and then you get creative and you end up creating new
Mm-mm.
dishes, and then these become your home cooked meals and staples that get passed on to whoever. So
Mm.
so it's funny, it's more art than science. And while some families may be a bit more fastidious about recording family recipes and passing these on from generation to generation, I feel more often than not, especially now, it's like more recipes just morph over time, and
True.
it really just depends on what you cook. So like even now, looking at us, like because of me going keto, then I have hyper focused on limited dishes that I grew up with,
Mm.
but I can eat, and it's a smaller subset versus all the stuff my family would prepare. And then if we were to pass this information on to anyone else, then I would only teach keto recipes
True.
to my next whatever generation. Nico, I'll teach you how to cook only these things. That's our generation.
Tristan shares there's a KFC rice bowl that's sisig flavored.
Oh my god.
Urim shares he likes doing the long way of cooking, which is slow and steady. And yes, I guess we are all now very hungry. Just so everyone knows, this week we are still celebrating the Pride series of episodes. So this Friday we are talking about corporations and pride. How are many companies riding on the pink wave? Are they sincere? Are they just being
The
manipulative?
pink wave sounds like mild, menstrual cycle.
That's possible too.
Because it used to, because the crimson wave in '90s talk was like full on
Well,
PMS.
people normally say the pink peso, and I hate that term. I hate that term.
But we're gonna mention it on Friday. But yeah, and then Sunday we're
Sunday
gonna
we'll
do
do
a
another
check-in.
quarantine check-in. We won't have an episode tomorrow, and we're taking a quick breather for Thursday.
Only because
Um,
work is super busy.
yeah.
So like we think we need a breather. So we'll see how that goes. If not, we'll go back to maybe more episodes next
Mhm.
week. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. I guess to wrap it up, um, and as much as there are home cooked meals that we'll miss, I think there is a spot that people should set aside for homemade desserts, and that deserves to be remembered.
I guess that deserves to be its own episode.
Yeah, but no one really practices that. Na, there's this homemade dessert that my mom always makes, and ganyan.
Because okay, not many people have desserts regularly as
True.
part of a home cooked
True,
meal.
and it's
It's only when I got together with you that we're always having dessert.
you always have dessert. You just didn't realize it.
No, I'm pretty sure my meal ended with rice. I think we didn't have a lot of dessert.
That's true. Mitch asks, naka 1 year na ba tayo?
Not yet. Although I have to double check when the anniversary is. Oh my god. Okay. But I know we started later into the quarantine cycle.
Oh, then that anniversary would be a good time to share our first fan art from Noel. Now you remember.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it for tonight. I'm so sorry for those who just arrived, but yes, we do have to wrap up. It is still a work day and we have stuff to do. We had a lot of fun in this episode. We are now hungry again. But
I'm
thank
not.
you so much for joining us, and we hope you'll join us again next time.
For questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. Thanks again to Black Swana who suggested this and for being able to drop by today. I know it's like we're literally on different time zones, so I super appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitter, all Toby No Shade, RG Suniko.
You can also check out our blog, badaypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know more about what are your family's like classic home cooked dishes and what are you trying to learn. I mean, just share with everyone and be sure to subscribe for notifications whether on Facebook or YouTube so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And this is Baduy
Pride.
Good night, everyone.